Driver talkSPORT, me, Andy Goldstein Darren Bent, alongside before the break. I asked a question: which player scored West Ham's first Premier League goal at the London Stadium? You got it in the break.
Antonio.
Yeah.
Against Chelsea.
No, Bournemouth. Follow us at 7 Adrian down the go. It's live and exclusive coverage. West Ham against Brentford from the London Stadium. We'll bring you tonight's team news as soon as it drops. But now on Thursday, last week, we were joined by former world champion Paulie Malignaggi ahead of his return to bare-knuckle boxing. We're pleased to report that it was a successful comeback for Paulie. It was live on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Although I'm guessing his mum will disagree with him. He joins us now to tell us all about it. Paulie, hello.
Hey guys, how are you? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm very well. Thanks so much for coming on. I said that your mum would disagree because on Thursday's interview with you, I said, how's it been received with people in your family, the fact you're going back into the ring and you're bare-knuckle boxing? And you said, not everyone's agreed with it. And I said, who's top of the list? And you said, your mum. And then I saw a video that you posted of you in the hospital waiting to be stitched up. And you looked dreadful. You looked really, really bad. Firstly, how are you? If people are watching on YouTube, they can see you've got a hat on and you've got dark glasses on. We can't really see too much of your face. How are you?
I'm good. A little sore, obviously after the fight, after especially any athletic event, but especially after a fight, you always do feel the worse for wear, and there is a recovery period, and so that's what I'm going through now. There was some stitches and even some fractured ribs, but yeah, I'm in good spirits. I won the fight, and I fought a worthy guy in Tyler Goodjohn, who was a menace and also a pioneer in this sport. And so, getting a win over a guy like that is both something that I have to, give myself credit for, but also it gives me a little bit of a place on this perch in this sport.
Paulie, now you got the result, and even like the way you're speaking, that are you still in a lot of pain? Because the photos that I've seen and watching your video, it looked like a brutal fight, and you spoke about obviously the cracked ribs and the problem with your eye. Are you still in a lot of pain?
Yeah, the issue with a rib injury is that it's, anybody who's had a rib injury, I don't know, I'm sure some people have had rib injuries. The pain is subtle. So, you can almost forget about it because when you're sitting down and not moving, you don't feel it. But then you'll make a sudden move or you'll forget you have a rib injury, because every move you make, you have to be very careful. So sometimes I'll forget and I'll move, or like it's only been a couple of days, I'll be rolling over in bed and all of a sudden it feels like something stabbed me, because the ribs are still very delicate. And so it'll wake me right up, So, that takes some getting used to. I have had rib injuries before, so this isn't the first time, but it is a patient approach to the healing process. As far as my eye is concerned, I finished the fight. There was an accidental poke of the eye, so I couldn't see anything out of my right eye. But little by little, the sight in my right eye is coming back. It's a bit fuzzy still in my right eye, but it's certainly much better than it was Saturday. So it's a work in progress, as is the healing process for any fight.
I mentioned that if people are watching on YouTube, they can see you've got dark glasses on, and I think an Everton hat. It looks from where I am. Can I ask you to take it off?
Yeah, you can.
Can I have a look?
Right.
And so if people are watching on YouTube, so the hat's come off.
This is golden paste.
Can you take the glasses off as well, Paulie?
There you go.
Oh,
can you take them off? There you go, so we can see. I mean, wow, your face is pretty battered, right?
Yeah. Well, what happens is it takes a couple of days for you to start healing. The funny thing is, after a fight, you actually get worse for a day or two. Your face kind of swells up and your eyes blacken more, and then you start to heal up. But so I'm probably in the worst of it right now, the first couple of days, and I think things will get better in the next couple of days. But at that point, it's actually worse than what it looks worse than what it is, because you're actually, already feeling better and getting in the healing process. As far as my face is concerned, when I made that video, I was in the hospital. I was actually just complaining because it's kind of a safety hazard to leave open wounds on a person for that, especially open wounds that big for that many hours. I don't know what kind of medical standards that you guys have in England, but in the U.S., I would have got stitched up right away.
How long was it until you were stitched up?
I'm coming from a place where it was multiple people inside the ring, people touching you. I was fighting, so there's germs on my hand. There's a dirty canvas in the ring. You got to get that cleaned up and stitched up. That's a massive cut. And they were just very nonchalant about everything. So I don't know how the medical system works here in England, but in the U.S., everybody would have lost their jobs if they would have handled it that way.
How long was it until it was stitched up, Paulie?
I got there at about 10:30 at night. I didn't get stitched up until 7 in the morning.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, I thought I was in a third world country. I'll be honest with you. I love England. I've always had great experiences here, but I've never, been in a medical situation in England. I was shocked and surprised. I'm from Italy. I'm from southern Italy. So in Sicily, I know already if I go to the hospital, I'm probably not going to get very good service. It's very low level, the medical field in the industry in Sicily and southern Italy. I can tell you I would expect that, but I did not expect for it to be comparable to Sicily rather than the United States when I went to the hospital in England.
I don't want to get too political, but I have
Is it political?
Well, I have to say, it's all down to, I'm guessing, which government is in and how much money they spend. But I have to say, our NHS service is amazing for the money.
No, I will give credit to this. When I did get stitched up, the person was very, very good. But you can see stitches are very well.
What I was going to say was they don't get anywhere near the amount of money they should, and they're massively overrun. But they are amazing people. They really are, the NHS. But yeah, listen, you're not the first person to wait in A&E or wherever you're waiting on a Friday or Saturday night for stitches. That's the problem with it. What's your view now about that industry of the fight game? Are you going to carry on, or is that the last fight? What are you thinking?
I have goals. I'm a competitor, so it's not just money, it's accomplishing things. I wanted to take on a very tough opponent in the first fight, not because I could have used my profile as a former world champion boxer and said, I want to just skip the line, and being that this sport is still trying to grow, they could have used my name as a springboard, right? But instead, I said, no, I commentated in this sport. I know how hard all these contenders work. I don't want to just cut the line and get in front of everybody. I want to take on a worthy contender. I want to take on a guy that if I beat him, then if I get a title fight, it's not looked at as I'm being gifted something, So that's why I wanted to take on Good John. And Tyler Goodjohn was a worthy guy. He made me work for every second of that fight. And I knew he would. And I was prepared for that. And so it was a bit of a reality check in the way that not so much that I don't think I'm capable of winning a title, but again, it's my hands that are a problem, and my hands became a problem late in that fight again. I have some issues with hand injuries and whatnot, and then so I have to, while I'm healing up from all these injuries, I have to give it some thought about, what I'm going to do next. I do want to fight for the title, but I have to keep in mind that a title fight is 6 rounds in bare knuckle and not 5 rounds.
Paulie, the body, and you said that about your hands. Is it a completely different feeling after a fight as to when you box?
I'll tell you what, muscularly, and soreness wise, I will tell you I'm more sore after a boxing match. 10, 12 rounds of pro boxing is, I think people maybe they think the gloves are just like a cushion. The gloves in pro boxing are only 8 ounces in competition. In the gym, you use bigger gloves so you can get to the fight. So when you spar, you use bigger gloves. It's more padded. But pro boxing gloves are 8 ounces. That is destructive. That is more concussive because you guys can throw hard punches, and it protects the hands more, but it doesn't protect the receiver because 8 ounces is just not enough padding for the receiver to be protected. So, I feel like it was more devastating after a pro boxing match. But what's different in bare knuckle is there's cuts, there's more bone breaking, there's more cuts, there's more bruising. So the complications, there's pros and cons to the complications of both sports. I think the optics of bare knuckle make people think this is worse. I think it just varies on the situation. I'll tell you what one particular worry is in bare knuckle that's not in boxing is the eye pokes, because the pro boxing, your hands are covered completely, right? The eye pokes can be dangerous here because they're accidental, but a bad eye poke can give you a retinal injury, and that can be a problem. But I'd say cuts and bone breaking is not as devastating as concussions and traumatic brain injuries. And that's where boxing becomes problematic, is traumatic brain injuries. So, if I can make a conclusion of it, there's pros and cons to both. Okay. But combat is not easy in either sport. Having said that, the biggest complication I've had in my career are hand injuries, and for that reason, after this experience, I've already been talking to some people in Misfits, and I'm open to some boxing offers and boxing opportunities. I may look into that before making a decision on a title fight in BKB. I may do a boxing match.
When do you fly back? Thanks for coming on. When do you fly back, Paulie?
I fly back. I was supposed to fly to Sicily yesterday, but because of the injuries, I gave myself a couple of extra days. I mean, it's going to be tough to get around the airport with bags, and my hands are very swollen. Yeah. But I'm going to fly tomorrow because I'm going to go to Italy to see my father. My father is in Sicily, and so I'm going to go to Italy for about a week, before flying. States next week.
Don't see your mother for about 2 weeks is my advice.
Yeah. I have not picked up her FaceTime calls.
No, don't do that. Get the filter on, all right? Look like Harrison Ford or something. Listen,
I told her the Wi-Fi is no good. I have to talk to
I hope she's not watching talkSPORT. Paulie, listen, we're big fans of yours, and it's always difficult to see someone you know in a boxing ring or bare-knuckle just take punishment. I know both of you took punishment, but I hope you make the right decision. I know it's difficult to just give up the sport that you love, but for your own safety and your families as well, I hope you make the right decision, Paulie.
I will, man. I'm confident that I have to stay true to myself, but I'm cognizant that I also have to worry about my own health as well.
Okay.
People can see I speak pretty clearly, so I don't think I have any brain issues because I wouldn't be able to work on television as a commentator on the side as well. So I'm thankful for that, but I'll definitely keep my health in mind. Thank you, guys.
All right, and Liverpool fans will be saying get a new hat. Paulie, thanks for coming on, man. We wish you all the very best.
Up the Toffees.
Thanks, Paulie. There you go, the wonderful Paulie Malignaggi. Wow, they were bad, weren't they, when he took the hat off and the glasses? You missed any of that, go to the talkSPORT YouTube channel. You definitely want to see that. A reminder, this Saturday, former heavyweight champion, current WBO interim champion Joseph Parker takes on the WBA interim heavyweight champion Fabio Wardley. It's live from the O2. The winner takes a big step towards the undisputed championship of the world. Watch this live on Saturday, only on DAZN.
talkSPORT.